Welcome to Reading the Bible with Nikki. This show is not family friendly, nor is it intended to be. So if you get highly offended and easily butt sore, feel free to piss off in the rudest way possible. I am your narrator in this here journey of the Old Testament. I am the charismatic, infallible enigma known as Nikki K the Great because I'm awesome. So take your pills. It's time to take your pills. The Scorchy Watch said so. Pack a bowl. Grab your smokes. Get comfy. Make sure you have your reward for keeping other people alive because it's highly important to keep other people alive. And we are on Ezekiel 44. So let's smoke it, drink it, and read it, right? And we are on Ezekiel 44. And this says, the closed gate. Then it says, he brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary facing east, but it was closed. Then the Lord said to me, this gate must remain closed. It must not be opened. No one should come through it because the Lord, the God of Israel, came through it. It must remain closed. This right here, God is two again, right? Because it's just the Lord is saying to me, because this guy came through it, we can't let him go back. We can't let him go back through it. Interesting. Haha. Why is he saying that? Why is the Lord saying that this door must remain closed? Because God came through it. Like, are you not letting God back through it? What is the whole point of this right here? And I was thinking, watching that iPod thing, people are afraid of people prophesying like Ezekiel. But Ezekiel didn't even do anything. He, like, they're talking about, like, I don't know, eating a shit, going mad in some kind of place and a lockup or whatever. And that's the only way he prophesied, and people didn't want people to prophesy like that or something. And this book has nothing like that. So far, the only thing I've seen in it is answers to other questions that I had, and like more questions to other shit that really should be explained. Like, why is the Lord talking about close this and leave this door closed? Because God came through it. So are you keeping it closed because you don't want God to go back? Like, see, that's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to psychoanalyze the Bible except for the parts that need to be psychoanalyzed. Only the prince may sit to eat a meal in the presence of the Lord. He must enter through the vestibule of the gate. Are you okay? You do hear that noise, right? Okay. Only the prince may sit in it. Hold on. He took me to the outer gate of the sanctuary facing east, but it was closed, and the gate must remain closed. It must not be opened, and no one should come through it, because the God of Israel came through it. It must remain closed. Okay, so no one should come through it because God came by himself. Oh, maybe it's God's trying to keep other people out. Like he came running to here and keeps the door closed because I don't want nobody coming. Okay. Either way, let's see what happens. Only the prince may sit in it to eat a meal in the presence of the Lord. He may enter through the vestibule of the gate and leave the same way. But where's he eating at, though? Okay. The new law, admission to the temple. Then he brought me by way of the north gate to the. Okay. Then he brought me by way of the north gate to the facade of the temple. I looked, and the glory of the Lord filled the Lord's house. Yeah, because he was like, comfy. I'm home, bitch. Let's recline. And I did the face thing. And then God said, yo, pay attention. Look carefully. Listen intently to everything I tell you. All about the statutes and the laws of my house. Pay attention to the entrance into the temple and all the exits of the sanctuary. And say to that rebellious house, the HOI, thus said God, enough of all your abominations, house of Israel. You guys have gone mad with this shit. For real. Mad. Super mad. You guys are insane. You have admitted foreigners, uncircumcised in heart and flesh, into my sanctuary to profane it. When you offered me food, the fat and blood, you have broken my covenant by all your abominations. Okay, first thing, the foreigners are not supposed to be hanging out with the Jews unless they're circumcised. Okay. And there was never a blood thing. What blood thing are they even talking about? Because God said no to the blood thing. He's like, no, no blood thing. Thank you, but no. Instead of caring for the service of my sanctuary, you appointed these foreigners to care for the service of my sanctuary. Oh, these Levites. Ha ha. Oh, the Levites. The Levites are supposed to be the ones that fuck around in God's house. Thus says the Lord God, no foreigners, uncircumcised in heart and flesh, shall ever enter my sanctuary, not even of the foreigners who live among the Israelites. Levites. Here we go. Here we go. As for the Levites who went far away from me when Israel strayed from me after their idols, they will bear the consequences of their sin. Yeah, I didn't forget. They will serve in my sanctuary only as gatekeepers and temple servants. They will slaughter burnt offerings and sacrifices for the people. They will stand before the people to serve them. Because they used to serve them before their idols, thus becoming a stumbling block to the HOI. Therefore, I have sworn an oath against them, says the Lord God, and they bear the consequences of their sins. Yeah, because personal responsibility is a real thing. It's a fucking real thing. They shall no longer come to serve as my priests, because by Felicia, nor shall they touch any of my sacred things or my most sacred offerings, for they must bear their shame, the abominations they have committed. See, this sentence, I can't. This should be, they must bear their shame for the abominations they committed. That should not be a comma. That should be the word for. Instead, I will make them responsible for the service of the temple and all its work, for everything that must be done in it, because God. That's all I gotta say, because God. And this chapter is called Priests. As for the Levitical priests, sons of Zadok, who took charge of my sanctuary when the Israelites strayed from me, they may approach me to serve and stand before me to offer the fat and the blood. What is this? What is this? Ah, there's not supposed to. What is that? That is not supposed to be a thing. That is not a thing. Why is that a thing? Why is that a thing? These motherfuckers. They may enter my sanctuary. They may approach my table to serve me and carry out my service. Whenever they enter the gates, whenever they enter the inner gates, whenever they enter the gates of the inner court, they shall wear linen garments. They shall not put on anything woolen. When they serve at the gates of the inner court or within the temple, they shall have on linen turbans and a linen diaper. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. So, linen only, no cotton, big boy. And when they go out to the people in the outer court, they shall take off their garments which they served, and leave them in the rooms of the sanctuary, and put on other garments, so they do not transmit holiness to the people by their garments. They shall not shave their heads, nor let their hair hang loose, but they shall keep their hair cut carefully trimmed. So they get cop haircuts. No priest shall drink wine before he enters the inner court. They shall not take wives, either widows or divorced women, but only unmarried women from the line of Israel. However, they may take as wives widows who are widows of priests. Is that like a concession? Like, if you're a priest, you can have a pretty unmarried girl come be a priest. They shall teach my people to distinguish between sacred and profane. Make known to them the difference between clean and unclean. In legal cases, they shall stand as judges, judging according to my ordinances. They shall observe all my laws and statutes regarding my appointed feasts, and they shall keep all my Sabbaths holy. Okay, so these must be the original, like the original group of holidays. They shall not make themselves unclean by going near a dead body. Only for family, except for sisters. Except for married sisters. Then they can go near a dead body. After he is again clean, he must wait an additional 7 days. On the day he enters the inner court to serve in the sanctuary, he shall present a purification offering for himself. Okay. I will be their heritage. I am their heritage. You shall not give them any property in Israel. I am their property. So is he like doing these priests like he did the original Levites? Like they can't have shit but the church? They shall eat grain offerings, purification offerings, reparation offerings. Anything under the ban in Israel belongs to them. So they can just pretty much ban something somebody has and then just be like, oh, this is banned, we're taking this. All the choicest fruits of every kind, all the best of your offerings of every kind shall belong to the priest. The best of your dough you shall also give to the priest to bring a blessing upon your house. I don't like that. That's why these people started thinking they could kill Jesus with no fucking problem. Because you just give them everything. The priest shall not eat anything that has died naturally or was killed by wild beasts. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like those rules, big guy. I feel like that's the kind of shit that makes people greedy. All right, I will be right back. Okay, so now we're going to chapter 45. Okay, chapter 45. This one's called The Holy Portion. When you apportion the land heritage by heritage, you shall set apart a holy portion for the Lord, holier than the rest of the land, 25,000 cubits long and 20,000 cubits wide. The entire area shall be holy. Of this land, a square plot, 500 by 500 cubits, shall be assigned to the sanctuary, with 50 cubits of free space around it. From this tract also measure off a length of 25,000 cubits and a width of 10,000 cubits. On it, the sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, shall stand. This shall be the sacred part of the land belonging to the priests, the ministers of the sanctuary, who draw near to minister to the Lord. It shall be a place for their homes and an area set apart for the sanctuary. There shall also be a strip of, oh my God, is this more schematics? All right, hold on. Okay, there are 20 and 10. There shall also be a strip 25,000 cubits long and 10,000 wide for the Levites, the ministers of the temple, so they have cities to live in. You shall assign a strip of 5,000 cubits wide and 25,000 long as the property of the city, parallel to the sacred tract. This shall belong to the whole house of Israel. Okay. A section shall belong to the prince, bordering both sides of the sacred tract and city combined, extending westward on the west side and eastward on the east side, corresponding in length to one of the tribal portions from the west boundary to the east boundary. This shall be his property in Israel, so that my princes will no longer oppress my people, but will leave the land to the house of Israel according to its tribes. Thus says the Lord God, enough, you princes of Israel. Put away violence and oppression, and do what is just and right. Stop evicting my people. Weights and measures. You shall have honest scales on an honest ephah and an honest bath. The ephah and the the ephah and the bath shall be the same size. The bath equal to 1/10 of a homer, and an ephah equal to 1/10 of a homer. Their capacity is based on the homer. The shekel shall be 20 gerahs, 20 shekels plus 5 shekels plus 15 shekels make up a mina for you. I have no fucking idea what any of that means. This is the offering you must make. 1/6 of an ephah from each homer of wheat and 1/6 of an ephah from each homer of barley. What? Oh my God. Okay. This is the regulation of oil for every bath of oil, 1/10 of a band, computed by the core, made up of 10 baths. That is a homer. For 10 baths, make a homer. What? Okay. Okay. One sheep from the flock of every 200 from the pasture land for the grain offering, the burnt offering, and communion offerings to make an atonement on their behalf. All the people of the land shall be responsible for these offerings to the Prince of Israel. It shall be the duty of the prince to provide burnt offerings, grain offerings, and libation on feast days, new moons. When has this become a thing? Why is this a thing? Okay. And Sabbaths on all the festivals of the house of Israel. He shall provide the purification offerings, grain offering, burnt offering, and communion to make atonement on behalf of the house of Israel. The Passover, because for some reason you need the rules again for Passover. That's like your holiday. Thus says the Lord God, on the first day of January, you shall take an unblemished young bull to purify the sanctuary. The priest shall take some of the blood from the purification offering and smear it on the doorposts of the house, on the four corners of the edge of the altar, and on the doorposts of the gates of the inner courtyard. You shall repeat this on the 7th day of the month for those who have sinned inadvertently or out of ignorance. Thus you shall purge the temple. Okay. On the 14th day of January, you shall observe the feast of the Passover. For 7 days, unleavened bread must be eaten. So is that like crackers? Shut up, Nikki. On that day, the prince shall sacrifice on his own behalf and on the behalf of all the people of the land a bull as purification offering. On each of the 7 days of the feast, he shall sacrifice as a burnt offering to the Lord 7 bulls and 7 rams without blemish. And as a purification offering, he shall sacrifice 1 male goat each day. As a grain offering, he shall offer 1 ephah for each bull and 1 ephah for each ram, 1 hin of oil for each ephah. Oh, here we go. The Feast of Booths. Yeah, this is where they have to set up a booth and live in it for like 7 days, right? They gotta live in a booth. And I don't know. And in July, well, at least it's warm out when they're doing this. Okay, July 15th, on the feast day, and for the next 7 days, he shall make the same offerings, the same purification offerings, burnt offerings and grain offerings and offerings of oil. On the 14th. Okay. So they got to do this again in July. Okay. Where are we at in life? Okay. We're doing pretty bad. All right. 46. How long do we have? Okay. Let's do it. Okay. Ezekiel 46. Thus says the Lord God, the gate of the inner court facing east shall the gate of the inner court facing east shall remain closed throughout the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath and on the day of the new moon it shall be open. When is the new moon a thing? When is it a thing? The prince shall enter from outside by way of the vestibule of the gate and remain standing at the doorpost of the gateway, while the priest sacrifice his burnt offering and communion offerings. He shall bow down and worship at the opening of the gate and leave, but the gate shall not be closed till evening. Wait a minute. The inner court facing east shall remain closed throughout 6 working days, but on the Sabbath. Okay, so that would be Saturday. And on the day of the new moon, it shall be open. When does the new moon become a thing? And the prince shall enter from outside by way of the vestibule and vestibule of the gate, and remain standing at the doorpost of the gateway, while the chief sacrifice his burnt offering and communion offerings. Then he shall bow down and worship at the opening of the gate and leave, but the gate shall not be closed till evening. The people of the land shall also bow down and worship before the Lord at the opening of this gate on the Sabbaths and new moons. When did the new moons become a thing? When did that become a thing? The burnt offerings which the prince sacrifices to the Lord on the Sabbath. Okay, the sacrifices on the Sabbath is 6 unblemished lambs and an unblemished ram, together with a grain offering, and 1 ephah for the ram, and whatever he pleases for the lambs, and a hin of oil for each ephah. I don't fucking know what that means. I don't know what it means. On the day of the new moon, because why is that a thing? He shall provide an unblemished young bull, 6 lambs, and a ram without blemish, with a grain offering of 1 ephah. Wait, is that 1 ephah for the bull and an ephah for the ram, and for the lambs whatever he can, and for each ephah a hin of oil. ritual laws. When the prince enters, he shall always enter and depart by the vestibule of the gate. When the people of the land come before the Lord to bow down on the festivals, if they entered by the north gate, they shall leave by the south gate. And if they enter by the south gate, they will leave by the north gate. They shall not go back by the gate through which they entered. Everyone shall enter by the opposite gate. When they come in, the prince shall be with them. He shall also leave with them. On feasts and festivals, the grain offering shall be an ephah for a bull, an ephah for a ram, but for the lambs, whatever they please, and a hin of oil with each ephah. When the prince makes free will offering to the Lord, whether burnt or communion, the gate facing east shall be open for him, and he shall bring his burnt or peace offering as he does on the Sabbath. Then he shall leave, and the gate shall be closed after his departure. Every day you shall bring as a burnt offering to the Lord an unblemished year-old lamb. You shall offer it every morning, and with it every morning a grain offering of a sixth of an ephah, with a third of a hin of oil to moisten the flour. This grain offering for the Lord is perpetual statute. The lamb, grain, and the oil you must bring every morning as a perpetual offering. The prince of the land. No, the prince and the land. Thus says the Lord God, if the prince makes a gift of part of his heritage, thus said God, if the prince makes a gift of part of his heritage to any of his sons, it belongs to his sons. That property is their heritage. But if he makes a gift part of his heritage to one of his servants, it belongs to him until the year of release. Then it inverts to the prince. Only the heritage given to his sons belongs to him. The prince shall not seize any part of the heritage of the people by forcing them off their property. From his own property he shall provide heritage for his sons, so that none of my people will be driven from their property. The temple kitchens. Then he brought me through the entrance at the side of the gateway to the to the chambers reserved for the priests, which faced north, and there I saw a place at the far west end, about which he said to me, this is the place where the priests cook the reparation offerings and the purification offerings and bake the grain offerings, so they do not have to bring them to the outer court and transmit holiness to the people. See, wait a minute. Why? Why? What does it mean? What does that mean? Like on some real shit, though. It was a different time, I suppose. I don't know. What does it mean? What does it mean? Then he led me to the outer court and had me cross to the four corners of the court. And there, in each corner, was another court. Courts were everywhere. In all four corners of the courtyard, there were courts set off, each 40 cubits long by 30 cubits wide, all four of them the same size. A stone wall surrounded them on all four sides. Ovens were built along the bottom of the walls all the way around. And that just fucked me all up. Hold on. And he said to me, "These are the kitchens where the temple ministers cook the sacrifices of the people." I see, that's so confusing because I thought everything they eat was a sacrifice. Okay. I don't know. Anyway, that is the end of that. So thank you for watching. Oh, that's not too bad. So thank you for watching. I love you and have the greatest day ever. I think. No. Thank you for watching. I love you and have the sweetest dreams ever.